Hi, so for my presentation, I chose to do the problem of just parents not being educated about child abuse, not being educated on how to teach their children, different tips to be safe when it comes to strangers or sexual abuse or just physical abuse in general. So for my program, I want to implement a free class for parents to attend that would be at different times of the day, at different times of the month, taught by a child abuse professional or an expert on the subject who can communicate different parenting styles, tips, etc. to the parents or the child's caregiver on keeping them safe from any of these dangers. So like I said, this would be a professional. The intended audience is a caregiver, child caregiver. And I want to focus on the fact that the program would be free. It wouldn't be this huge ordeal to go. It's just a couple hours in the night to just learn some new tricks and tips to how to react to your child growing and developing and understanding how and why the child is acting in the way they are, how to react to that in a non-abusive manner, and then teaching children and yourself different things to do to keep everyone safe. So like I said, the difference between what should be taught and what in the past has been taught, such as stranger danger, avoid everyone, avoid anyone who has a dog or candy or anything like that, and focusing on what is more beneficial to the child's safety. And then focusing on what a parent can do when it comes to being angry, being stressed, as an alternative to abusing the child. So to begin, the problem is the education. Many people believe myths that just aren't true about child abuse. They believe that so many kids are taken by strangers, and when in reality, 85% of kids who are taken by someone that they know, and most of the time it's typically from a parent custody battle. So knowing that a child is abused or abducted or sexually abused by someone that they know, love, and trust most of the time is pretty detrimental to understanding the problem in general. So to start, understanding signs of potential abuse for other children is something that can decrease abuse. Emotional signs, physical signs being the bruises, the marks, the red marks, the scratches. They're pretty easy, well not easy, but they're much easier to notice than the emotional signs of withdrawal, depression, unexplained anger. Something that is key to noticing sexual abuse is the child's vocabulary when it comes to sexual acts. Knowing what different terms are can show sexual abuse because their knowledge is far beyond their years. So in the program that I would offer to parents, the do's and the don'ts of parenting, the do's and the don'ts of lessons for children, the stranger danger part of it, the tips for parenting, the tips for giving children to use when they're out in the world alone without you. And then just talk about ways to treat your child when you're stressed or angry and understanding why your child is acting in the way that you can't seem to understand. I really think that this program will work because of how easy it is for the public to access it. It is free, it is offered at different times. We would typically use a classroom in a school, in a community, after hours. That will fit a large amount of people, and then once everyone's going, word of mouth will spread the program to other parents. Doctors will hopefully recommend taking the course to new parents. And once all of these myths about child abuse are debunked and all of these ideas that parents have about their child's safety is moved in a direction that makes more sense, I think that child abuse and abductions can really be helped in that manner. So to get the word out about the program, I've made a tool, just a generic flyer to post in schools, office buildings, restaurants, parks, anywhere that a parent or a child caregiver would be to see the flyers. So this is just an example. I made up a child expert, John Smith. I made up date, time, emphasizing that the class is free, information to call or website to find out more information, and then just a generic what the course is about. And hopefully once the course has been used many months within the community, people will understand what it is and attend multiple courses, because each course will hopefully focus on different areas. And they can always learn something from attending a new course. So the other tool that I have created is, again, just a tool that would be used by the presenter. In my case, this is John Smith. So this would just be the PowerPoint that would be given at the program. So the first lesson that would be taught are just risk factors for child abuse, and of course, any risk factor that occurs or exists within a household does not mean that there is abuse occurring. Just because there's a teen parent, or just because a parent is unemployed, that does not mean that that parent is abusing their child. These are just risk factors that tend to be repeated when it comes to child abuse. So understanding what these are and understanding that they exist can help parents hopefully lean away from some of these risk factors, such as the negative attitude, or using authoritarian parenting styles, or lacking social support. Trying to avoid these things can help parents parent better. So, like I said, the beginning would be focused mainly on parents, and then it would focus on the children. So the parent lessons would be to understand why the child is acting in the way they are, how to use non-abusive measures in punishment, how to find support from other parents, etc. So the expert would give this information and other resources for the parent to use. And the benefit of this would be to increase the knowledge, as I've spoken as my main point. Increasing education is so important. Stress management is important, anger management. And helping the parent to improve their relationship with their child is absolutely going to steer away from child abuse in the household. So the new way of stranger danger that I would like for parents to understand is to not tell children, avoid all strangers, avoid everybody, don't talk to anyone. They need to understand that there are safe adults and there are dangerous situations, and they need to be able to identify those. Talking to a police officer or a security guard or an employee of a store is typically going to be okay for the child to do if they have a question, if they are lost. And identifying different situations that the child could be in, such as if adult asks the child to keep a secret, to not listen to their parent, to ask them for help with something that they probably shouldn't need help from a child to do, are things that the child should understand. Child sexual abuse education starts with knowing the real names of body parts. Doctors recommend using private parts as the term so that the child feels comfortable using the terms, and we'll talk about it, but then the adult also understands what the child is discussing. Don't keep secrets. The adult is not always right. You have a voice to not do what makes you feel uncomfortable, etc. So understanding that is important. Repeating these multiple times to children, teaching them to be assertive, teaching them what-if situations. What if you're separated from me in the park? What if an adult asks you to do something you don't want to do? Practicing these decision-making skills will be extremely helpful. And finally, just some other precautions. Having a plan if trauma happens, acting quickly, knowing who to talk to, taking pictures of your children before going to events is going to help. So these are just a couple extra tips that I would want to be presented. Hopefully the presentation goes smoothly and adults can learn how to parent better. Thank you so much. It's been a great semester.